Me searching and I'm growing old. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. I've been a miner for a heart of gold.
Baby, now, how about that? Does that not send you on the launch and send you sailing into the air? Does that not get you up and your tail's shaking and your rutabaker's baking and everything going just right as your wings spread and you take flight? Oh my goodness, that's right, kiddo. We are rocking this AM with Eric Burden and the Animals from way back when, baby. Ooh, river deep, mountain high, and baby's all we can do is fly, fly, fly. Yes, over it all, within it all, too, man. We are the mix that made the cosmic stew in the first place, and therefore we are the product of it too, man. Wow. I mean, shoot. It's just hanging out. Now, what in the hell is this old man talking about? When he's sitting there talking about, with all these lovely words, man, he's sitting there talking about, the flowery innocence, the return to love, the blossoming of the heart, What in the hell does that mean to me? Well, shoot, baby. What that means, kind of, is realizing the paradise in which you live in the moment of now. Wherever you are, whatever your conditions may be, they might be pretty bleak, for some of us they are. But you can look at it one way or you can live in it another. You can see it for what it truthfully is, and this transforms the situation anyway and brings it up to a whole new level. Now, how the hell do you do that? How the hell do I mix light and dark? What the hell are you talking about, old man? Gee whiz. Okay, let's get real simple about it. You give yourself a moment in time when you can open up. Without anybody making pressure on you in any moment. If you have to go out and sit in the car or whatever, get yourself some time. Sit back, close your eyes, and just love yourself. Just allow yourself to be loved. Just let go. The tension will ease out of you. Just let it flow through your feet back into the earth. She know what to do with it. She organic, man. She can remanufacture and make goodness out of badness all the time, and she does. She's the transformative energy that brings forward life from the mud and muck of life. You see, that's our whole process here. We had to learn to endure the mud and muck, to be very, very identified with that mud and muck, to understand the organic way, and to be very much a part of it. And in that way re-energize our feelings in that mud. I mean, in organic way, feeling is about as deep and as real as it can get, and therefore that's why it is so sought after. You see, so whatever you're feeling, to every other being in the universe, it's a very precious feeling, even if it's the depths of depression and frustration. You're deeply and divinely appreciated for going through that in this moment in time. Now you start to see what I'm talking about. Realizing the paradise is realizing the depth of appreciation that's within you already for what you do have. You're not out in the cold just yet. And if you are, you'll make even better of it than anyone else before you. Because you got the charm in your heart, in the aware place within your person. No matter what life dishes up to you, you're more than ready for it, you see. Because now you're the one writing the recipe. You know what's in the food you're about to be served. In other words, the experience that's coming to you is kind of predictable when you feel what's real inside, when you allow yourself to see yourself living in such an enlightened and privileged way. When you begin to see the saintly side of yourself that's more than willing to endure any kind of sacrifice in order to bring forth the fullness of experiential love, to allow itself to feel and exist and believe any damn thing and every blessed thing. And bring it all to a point where, wow, it culminates in a real sensible crescendo that becomes then the organic transpiration into reintegration with the living energies of life, the fullness of feeling. I mean, these are kind of flowery and complicated words. So in other words, we kind of re-energize life and just bring it down to a very earth level and live it in a very earthy way, which is so enlightened. It's just unbelievable. It's the ideal mix of earth and sky. That's what we are as human beings. Now that's the same as mixing light and dark. So you have a dark moment in your experience of now, and you enlighten yourself within that darkness. You appreciate the darkness for the light that it shows you. Because without that darkness, you wouldn't even know there was freaking light, let alone something to seek after, you see. And it's not just about stepping into the light and being all a prissy little fairy godmother and all of that good horse shit. No, baby, it's being real. It's being a human being, an enlightened human being. That means enlightened from the inside out. That means the light literally originates within you like it does in the sun and pours out through every cell and atom of your person, every little energetic field around you. It just blossoms brightly in the light, to the point where some people cannot even stand to be in your presence because you're just so damn bright. It's like looking right into the sun. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody would want to do it, you know. But it can be done. But that's the same brilliance is coming forward in you. And perhaps sometimes it comes from the darkest places, because that's where it can shine the brightest. And that's where the light is most needed. We shrivel the old mushrooms away and we bring forth greenery, flowers, shrubbery, life, birds, trees, antelope, deers, condors, thunder beans, angelics, etc., man. We live in the most beautiful form of creation. Right now, you're surrounded by a fleet of angels. A fleet is a lot of them, man. I don't know how many it is, but it's way up there in the numbers, man. And each one of them has your personal attention, your personal safety and awakening at the heart of its being. That's its central, essential reason for being, is to be in service to you, to help you through the darker moments into the brighter light of the blossoming life, where you finally allow yourself to live in the privileged way of love that you know is right for you, where you finally allow creation to create it for you, in whatever form that comes to you, in whatever format. You make no judgments on anything, you know. We all have our hang-ups, and in some cases they may be real reasonable, but it doesn't mean that's still a hang-up, you know, and it isn't something you can't live beyond if it's necessary. And you don't have to compromise yourself to do it either. You just see beyond restriction. You know, you don't need any. If your intention is pure, you can do just about anything and never commit a harmful act or a criminal act in any way, because you're just working for the ultimate good, and the ultimate good will see you through. This empowers those angels I talk about to really be of divine assistance to you. Now, you want to see miracles today in your life? You want to see some amazing change and quickly? Oh, babies, you're the one that can empower it. You give it some time, you give it some energy, but mainly deal with it inside yourself. Because what surrounds you represents energies inside of you too in some way. It may not mean, you know, that you're the creator of violence, but at the same time, there's a reason why you're there. What could possibly have compelled you into that? Is that some kind of self-torment? Some need to have self-torture? What? You see, so you look around like that when you're in these quiet moments, when you have the space to do it. And you just, you know, kind of question your insights as to the reality in which you're living, whatever that question might be, you know. If I'm so enlightened, why am I living in such a crappy place? And the angels will return you to the innocent eyes that can see what you're really doing. And you'll stop making judgments on yourself and your situation, and you'll see the reality of the ever-present love that's in it, and probably is being shared right this very moment with someone else that you truthfully care about. You see, we all get into routines, and routines tend to make you a little bit numb. You know, you kind of get used to just going through it in an unfeeling way because it hurts too much, blah, 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 to feel. Well, that's a bunch of horse shit. That's just an innocent fear that was born inside of us when we began to realize we weren't so connected anymore. Way back in the way back when. See, it's something that's come to us through the generations once again. Doesn't it all? You see, we created it way back in the beginning. Now we inherit it as the subsequent generations. But we are the generations of light and love. Starting in my time and a little before that, on through to whoever you are getting born right now, babies. We are the generations of love. And we are here to create that love in its realest form. Notice I don't say light. I say love. Because it's in the experience of all that we unite, not just the pleasant ones, but everything that we be, everything that we are, everything that we've ever been through or created as a misery for others, you know. We live with this. But we see this in a more enlightened way now because our heart is awakening, because we can see the threads of love through the most horrible of things. And we can imagine ourselves beyond that form of existence. We're no longer suffering beings. We're beings that chose a course that appears to be suffering in order to experience what it might mean, and to share that experience with the reality of all that live. There's a reason for darkness the same as there is for light. There's a reason for grit the same as there is for lubrication. You see, it all works together for the betterment of all, no matter how that experience appeared to be when we went through it on the timeline, when we lived through it, in other words, or are living through it now. As you return to the innocence, as you allow yourself the space of being to recover your heart, and that means close your eyes and give yourself some time to see it. And a little toke on some NJ will help you along the way, if that's available to you in a legal sense and all that good stuff. Like it is here in Colorado, my goodness. We're being overrun now with population because, baby, everybody wants to live here. I don't blame them, you know. Why not return to the innocent land of Colorado where we don't care what kind of plants you grow in your garden? It's a beautiful thing. Be growing, baby. You know, all life needs to be like this. All life needs to let go of the need to regulate itself and realize that it already is self-regulating. That whatever it is we need to be, we are in any given moment, you see. And it's for the value and the goodness in that experience, whatever it might be. When you begin to see and feel in this way, you've transformed everything, and life will follow suit. You just created a new reality. And into that new reality, you're going to step, and you're going to live, and you're going to be. And that doesn't mean putting up with the old shit anymore either. It just means, you know, you're satisfied and content where you are because you see the paradise in it, the love. But it doesn't mean you're going to stay there. Because the love will have you rise up out of it, or rise crossways, or however it is you move, but it will have you move. It will have you move mountains if that's what's necessary in order to be alive and awake and fully embellished within the presence of your person and divinely worshipped in the way of love, you know, from every being that lives, you know, because we really do love our life, and that is worship. When we love the life, and we love all the life around us too. Even the innocent, stupid old flies. Now they get bad in the fall around here. I know they do in your territory too, I'll bet you. Oh well, here we are living the life of love, man. And that's love to be living it. So you just love the old flies for being the playful little dorks that they are, and just let them be, you know. They start to leave you alone. I've noticed that, you know, if I'm not responding to their little teases, you know, they just tend to leave you alone. Maybe that's the secret of unhooking yourself from any place you don't want to be in life. Just to be okay with it for a while. Just to look at it and say, hey, well, it's better than, or, wow, this is great, or, man, how was I ever so blessed as to be in this place? And where do we go from here? Where's my heart taking me now? What is it that I've got to do? What is it that's very clear? And your divine heart, there in the temple of love, yes, your divine heart will reveal the past to you. You'll have visions of it. You'll create it in these visions, which are really just dreaming, but it's a conscious dreaming. You know, and then you start to realize that you're consciously dreaming all of this all of the time. I mean, the two kind of go together. And when they do, then you start to realize your empowerment in creation. Now see, I'm just taking these steps too. But as we do, we can recreate it all. We can have it on an even keel, no matter what it is. We can be blessed in every moment and every situation that we live, and move into even more comfortable places, because that's what we allow to be. We allow creation then to provide for us as we provide for it in return. That's the innocent way, the way of the pure heart, the way of the real love. That's the child in us all arising in this temple of love, returning to innocence, being who and what we truthfully are, seeing all with innocent eyes, and therefore in innocence is all recreated. Now do you start to get it? I'll post a little picture over on my Facebook here in a bit when I have a moment after the show, and it will kind of represent the innocence that I'm talking about. It's unmistakable in this little work of art that just happens to hang on my restroom wall here at the old Spaceship Love, the Light Center. And she and I, this little innocent one, have some very interesting conversations as I travel to and fro in my journey to the restroom. And during this show, I make quite frequent trips because I drink a lot of coffee, baby. Keep me awake here with the microphone, you know. The other day, we wouldn't know it. I mean, you know, I'm good about it, but wow, the other day I almost passed out at the microphone later in the program because I was so into the vision that I was sharing that, wow, it just about drifted me away. I have to watch that kind of energy and stay engaged here, you see. Yeah, don't let that stuff. See, and you'll have the same situations come up when you're giving yourself a little personal time and trying to assimilate and employ and understand all of this. You'll have stuff that'll pull you away like that, you know. And you just remember that that's what it is, and you just bring yourself back here to that point where you can see things a lot more clearly. You know, you don't get swept away by the thoughts and feelings that come up. You release them. You let them go by, just like you would water in a river. Do you want to stop it and take every little drop out of it? No. You just let it flow by. It's experience. It's thought. It's remembrance. It's letting go. It's unwinding from inside. See, our minds get so busy with all of this, thinking that they're the only solution, the mind, I mean, when in fact it's the heart that is where the solution all resides, and the mind just has to learn to accept that it's not an isolated presence, that it's something that's unified with the heart, and in that unification then it sees it's part of the greater creation, and no longer tries to separate itself from anything. So in other words, the mind becomes a uniform part of the creation in which we live. You know, no longer in conflict with anything. And there goes industry and agriculture and economy and the need for trade and ships and boats and planes and all that shit. You know, out the window, man. You know, this consumptive reality where we think we have to take from each other and from the earth in order to live is such a crock. Yet it's divinely empowered to be the presence that it is in order that we learn our way through it. I mean, else how would we really appreciate equity without having lived in the grossest of inequities? You see how this works? You start to see how we mix the light and the dark. You appreciate where you are, what you got, and it moves you into the blossoming stages of life, where things become real and stuff starts to happen magically. And opportunities appear out of nowhere. And if there's a new direction for you to be going, hell, Not only will you be offered transportation there, you'll probably get somebody to help move you for free. You know, if that's the situation you find yourself in. You know, it has a flow to it. And when you're tuned in, tapped into that, you know, when you can live and reside in the heart's presence, in other words, and not fear it anymore, well then, babies, you've just become that very essential source of creation that creates the life you're living. And see, most of it goes on in what we would consider a sub-psychological or almost subconscious way. You're conscious of it when you're living in this presence, but it's kind of like automatic because you're in the flow. And the flow is the heart's awareness. It's the divine intelligence in motion. And it knows exactly where to be and what to do to be in perfect harmony with all things in any given moment. And the one given moment in which all things are. I love going around in circles like that, babies. Yes, I do. Because it all makes so much sense, you see. We learn to see past the joke of life this way by taking the dichotomy and stretching it a bit and then swinging it back around to a landing pad here, man, which then becomes a launch pad. Just like the place where you are right now, wherever that may be. I got this little poem, you know, that I wrote some time ago. I can remember a little of it. The journey's never over. The journey never ends. Wherever you are on it, that's where it just begins. We're already arriving at the place we've already been. The journey's never over. It always does just begin. See, that's where we're at right now, is that just begin. Just. See, because it's always beginning. Each breath you take is a new beginning. Each blink of the eye. Each bat of the eyebrow. Every moment is a reawakening. Every moment is a new opportunity to live differently than you had in the moment before that. To change the flow and direction of your life by allowing your heart that resides in this temple of love to bring out the child in you, which knows then innocently just what to do. When I say the child, I don't mean the childish. I mean the intelligence of the child, the innocence. I mean, the maximum. You notice how children are, often come up with the most impressionable sayings because they're so real and so true and so simple. Only a child could speak it in that way. Pure truth, in other words, innocent truth, given in innocence. Well, some people hate kids for that, but truth is truth, babies. And it's amazing when it comes from them out of the mouth of babes, you see. So that's the same innocent love I'm speaking of inside of us. That which sees it in a childlike sort of way. Sees it in the innocent way. And therefore it is recreated in that innocence. That's how it works, baby. That's the reality of magic, of real love, of real heart in motion. That's the temple of love in action. See, it's not some place you go and hang out and feel yourself all holy, holy. The temple of love is the source of creation. It's active as all get out. It's busier than the North Pole, man, you know. And all of Santas and his little elves and reindeers and shit, you know. It's a busy-ass place, man. It ain't some little come and rest your laurels kind of place. It's come and let's be the magic that we are and let's create life together, man. You know, have these huge, huge swellings, eruptions of pure love that become all these new aspects of creation, so unified with all the rest of us too. We're so in love with that experience. That's all paradise is to know that we love every bit of it. To really feel that in your bones, to know that is your place of existence. It's quite a switch from where you've been, because we've really been trained to hold ourselves down and to feel picked upon. You know, no matter what stage of life we're at, some part of us has to feel like we're in a state of compensation, therefore we can do the things we have to do in order to get by. You see what I mean? So we feel picked on in some way or another. Give us the excuse to compromise ourselves to get on with life. See, we have a sense of justice and equity in us already. It's just kind of warped. You know, I guess because it's kind of lived in an egoic sense and through your egoic side. But even that's a creation of an empty heart, of a divided heart, you see. And babies, it's a very useful part of yourself that you don't want to just throw away. It's something that's very gainful within you. It is very perceptive, though its perceptions may have been warped in the past because it wasn't grounded in the energy of the heart. When it becomes so, it becomes a fully refined part of you. No longer is it afraid. No longer does it feel insecure. No longer does it have to swell up with this superficial pride that makes it burst its bubble and hurts so many other people when it does. You see, no longer will it have to live like that, because it'll feel the fullness of life, the same as all the rest of your being. Well, that's exactly where we are now, when we gave up the pain. When we let go pain as our primary motivation, we switched the switch. Ego no longer became possible, because there's nothing that separates us from life any longer. We can feel full and complete in it. If you're still feeling pain, give yourself a little time. It will dissolve. Take the time to give it some loving attention and see what I mean. We're coming forward in ways that we never have before, never could have before. And now it's spreading widespread throughout humanity. First, the numbers are short, just a few. And then a few more and a few more and a few more. And it spreads like a tidal wave, like a rampant infection. Yes, indeed, the infection of seeing clearly from the innocent eyes of love and feeling the full purity of protection around you, because in that innocence is the maximum empowerment for the angelic forces that help us influence the reality to not be harmful to us in any way. That's the reality of what we live in, kids. That's who and what we are. And that's what we're all about. Yes, indeed. Right here in this life that you're living. Coming to you once again, babies. This high energy, this radiant love, this beautiful life. From 9,000 feet, babies, here in the Rocky Mountain sky. The launch pad of life, babies. You know, we just take off from here and we fly, fly, fly. Fly like an eagle then. Be the thunder beam that you are. Allow yourself to be free. Set yourself free, and you'll see what you be. In other words, give yourself the time. Relax. Don't try to force this. Don't try to deal with it in any old manipulative, well, I'll do this and then they'll do that kind of thing. No way. Do this because the heart is this. Live this because it is the heart's way. When you understand that, when you live that, babies, everything else is just okay. Again, because of the influence you have in the reality, we're creating our own paradise, or returning ourselves to that paradise in this way. Beautiful beings, huh? What a hell of a gracious journey, man. Gotta love it. Gotta love it all, man. Even the fallen stars, the shooting star, the Roman candles, everything that goes with it. Gotta love it all, baby. It's just gotta be present here, baby. And accounted for, meaning appreciate what you got. Rise up from there, babies. Ooh, yeah, it's time.